I don't even know where to start this video, really. My last video, I did this sketchbook tour, and I was asked very nicely if I could show my other sketchbooks. And the answer is, well, I do have them. I think that would be a very long video if I were to go through all of them, and I don't know if I really want to go back and display everything that I've done in the past in separate videos. I just kind of would prefer just to move on. I'm sure you guys understand. It is kind of embarrassing, right, to go back and look at your old artwork. I don't really want to put them on a pedestal, as it's not like a display of what it is that I can do now, but it is fun to go back and look at. So I thought we could just do like a compare and contrast from like where I started versus where I am now. You know, art is always evolving. What my art looks like today is not what it's going to look like 2 years from now, but it is fun to keep track of that sort of thing. And I do just want to say too that traditional media is new to me. I've really only just been doing it for the past couple of years. Before then, I was primarily a digital artist. I did digital only from about 2001 to about 2015 when I decided to take a hiatus from the internet and social media. I disappeared for about 5 years. In 2019, I kind of got interested in art again, and that's when I started doing traditional media. So that's new, but just for funsies, I'll show you what my art used to look like. I have to keep fumbling with this big pile of books off to the side, but if you knew me on the internet roughly, 10, 15 years ago, you probably would recognize my art, but this is what it used to look like. And so that's me. I don't really remember when I did this, maybe 2010 maybe, but you can kind of see I have a very half cartoony, half realistic type of style to me, and this is what I was known for. If you're interested, that was published in this book years ago. Very nice, Share One Planet. But that was me 10, 15 years ago, and I have since moved on. Like I said, after coming back from my hiatus, I decided to do traditional art only. Traditional art was something that I always wanted to do when I was younger, but as you can imagine, the internet back then was very different to what it is right now. There wasn't that much information being shared. I admired a lot of traditional artists back then. I just didn't have the money as a child to buy those sort of things. My parents didn't have the money to buy those sort of things. And in the long run, it was just cheaper to have a knockoff Wacom tablet and a knockoff Photoshop and just do digital art repetitively than to keep buying art supplies. But since I became an adult, and I now have the funds to spend on such things, and, I essentially started from scratch. I took that years of a break from art completely. I got interested in traditional media again. I had no followers. I had, just started from zero, nobody to judge me. So why not? Why not try traditional art? So I opened up a TikTok just to kind of track my progress. And this is the first sketchbook I have ever done with traditional media only. This was in 2019, you guys. My very first ever watercolor book. My first time using watercolor with like real purpose. So it's rough. I really struggled a lot with just making concepts. After taking a break for years, I just lost my ability to be creative, and that was really the worst part after coming off of a break. I couldn't think of anything to draw. I didn't know what to draw, and my only goal was just to fill up this watercolor journal just to see if I could spark something. So it was really a struggle. This is the first time I ever picked up watercolor, the first time I ever picked up gouache. And I think you can tell, like in comparison, like this compared to that compared to that, sorry about the glare, Like, that is a huge step down. That actually kind of really hurt my feelings. I felt like I had regressed back to kindergarten level, and it was truly starting all over again. But I stuck it out. This was actually when I first discovered that watercolors can actually be pigmented. The only watercolors I knew of before this was, you know, the little Crayola watery watercolors to use with kids. I didn't know that it could be this bright and pigmented, and that really kind of sparked something in me. I was like, I can do this. So, but that was what this sketchbook was. Its only purpose for me was to just try to relearn how to draw, relearn how to paint, how to conceptualize. I think technically I still had some technical skills. Like, I kind of still understood anatomy a little bit. I just didn't know what to do with the paint product, and it was really hard. So I really struggled. I pushed through this journal, and then I moved on to the next one. So yeah, that was 2019. I did not get into art again because of the pandemic. That just coincidentally happened roughly at the same time. So my next watercolor journal that I did was this. I even like titled it Great Art Resurgence. So I started this one in 2020, and I yeah, pros yay art, cons this paper is horrible. So this one I was finding a little bit more my stride. I was kind of getting used to the paints. Let's see if we can get to refocus. And then I had discovered acrylic gouache for the very first time. I think this was all the Turner acrylic gouache that I did. And then still a lot of watercolor. So this, again, I was really just trying to fill up a journal. Just as a goal was just to fill up the journal, and then also try to come up with original ideas and then how to use this new medium, because I was not used to doing paint. I was used to doing fur on like the you know, digitally, but trying to relearn how to do fur again in traditional medium was really hard. I still haven't quite figured it out, but this was the first thing I was ever really truly proud of. It's over 2 pages, and I'm starting to learn a bit. And that's really all that it is. You just keep going. Even if you hate something, you just keep going. Some of these might look familiar because they're still in my portfolio. There was just a lot of experimentation. Like, I even did some landscapes. And this one I did really goofy, but I think that kind of shows you what's about to come, how my art's going to evolve here shortly. So this book was the first one that I was ever like truly proud of. I felt like I had finally done something that was worthy of being like in a portfolio. But looking back on it now, I mean, it's only been like 2 years, and you know, I'm officially seeing the flaws in all of these, but I was really proud of myself for this book, and I was proud of a lot of the artworks that I had come up with in it, and I felt like I was kind of hitting my stride, and I was finding who I was again. And then in the next sketchbook, this is one, oops, let me put that away. This is the one that really kind of started it all. This is what sort of starts looking like me now. Again, I had discovered acrylic gouache, and now I had to start adding in colored pencils into my works. This really made me, this one in particular, I still like this one a lot. This made me really excited to paint and come up with ideas and then do it again. And this is really kind of the beginning of what my artwork currently looks like. So I really like this one too. I think that's a pretty big, we'll compare again. That's a pretty big improvement, right? This was, when was this one done? Oh, I don't know if I put the date on this one. This is probably 2020 or 2021, but I had just gone from you know, this to that. I think that's a pretty big improvement in a short period of time. It just shows art's a little bit like riding a bicycle. You'll eventually find yourself again. But I did some really cool stuff in this one. This is one of my favorites that I've done. This one's actually one of my favorites that I've done too. He just has a lot of character and personality. And this one's my all-time favorite art piece that I've done in recent years. So that book is really what kind of looks like me nowadays. And then I went off and did it again. So this was my 4th book. So bam, now we're kind of getting back to my flowy lions again. That's how I've ended up, and that's how I'm currently staying. That's the direction that I'm going in. Yeah, not all of these were done. They weren't done like in order of page. But, I mean, this is where that short period of time, it's only been like 2-ish years. And here I am now. So, just in comparison, I mean, that's like a year's different right there. So yeah, I like this guy too. But anywho, so if you're a beginner artist and you're feeling bad about yourself, you know, just hold on to your artworks and then just go back a year or so later and look to see how far you've come, because I think you'd be rather impressed. I mean, I know that I had experience before then, but it is interesting being an old-timey artist on the internet and then taking a break and coming back and seeing how much the internet has changed over the years and then trying to catch back up. I feel like I'm 10 years behind my peers and I'm still like chasing after them. But all in all, I think I've managed to get up to speed a little bit, and I have no idea where I'll be at a year from now. I might find all of this super embarrassing, but I'm going to hold on to it anyway, just like I did before, so I can compare yet again. So I don't know, that might have been inspirational, that might have been long-winded and annoying, but thank you for watching anyway. Really appreciate it. Bye-bye.